Hello everyone, my name is Maria Orueta and I'm gonna present you my subject which is language. Origin and its component is part of the module Language as a System, and this is my final project. Let's start with the definition. What is a language? The definition is we can define language as a system of communication using sounds or symbols that enable us to express our feelings, thoughts, ideas, and experiences. This means that, for example, we have some symbols like the heart or many symbols that express an idea. There are different kind of expression or tools that we can use to say something that we want. And we have four theories, and one of them is Piaget, who said that the children adapt to the environment, so they get the knowledge or they acquire the knowledge in that environment. They pick up the things that they learn. And Gratian mentioned the creative construction theory, which has five hypotheses, and Chomsky, who said that children are exposed to very little formed language, and this is that with a little bit of information they can create their own language, or they can think or have thought. And also said that children are autonomous in the creation of new language. So this means that you don't have to tell them what to say. They pick up this language, these words, and put together, and they express idea. So they are really independent in the way that they express. You don't have to teach them. Well, we teach them, but they are able or independent by themselves to say something. And Vygotsky said that previous knowledge helped to develop independent learning. This means that, for example, we as a teacher, we give some information, and from that information they create new information or they add. And so that previous knowledge is the basis for their future knowledge. And what does it mean to know a language? We have three characteristics. Linguistic knowledge is to have the capacity to produce sounds that signify certain meanings and to understand and interpret the sounds produced by others. So we say something and the other person is able and has the capacity to interpret that sound that we emit. And knowledge of the sound system means knowing what sounds are in that language and what sounds are not. It's like a kind of an inventory. So in English we have some sounds, and in Spanish we have some other sounds that is hardly or it's hard to imitate those kind of sounds because we don't have it in our own language. Language of the meaning words is knowing that certain sound sequences signify certain concepts of meaning. So this sequence of words has a meaning or express an idea, and you have the capacity also to get that idea with that sequence of words. The properties of language is we have displacement, arbitrariness, and productivity. Displacement it allows the user of language to talk about things and events not present in the immediate environment. So we have the capacity to talk about the past and the future. So, and animals don't have that capacity. They have the capacity to react to that moment, but they don't have the capacity to think in past or in future. Obviously, let's express those situations. And arbitrariness is generally the case that there is no natural connection between a linguistic form and its meaning. The other one is productivity. It's a feature of all language that novel utterances are continually being created. Those are the properties of language. Cultural transmission, this process, heavy language is passed on from one generation to the next one. So this knowledge, like my mother's knowledge passed to my generation, and I'm gonna pass to the next generation. So that is a cultural transmission. Discreteness is the sounds used in a language are meaningfully distinct. Duality, language is organized at two vowels levels of life simultaneously. This property is called duality or double articulation. Those are the properties of the language. Phonetic and phonology. Phonetic study the physical characteristic of sounds. For example, the S in books has changed completely the meaning of the word, because this we are trying to say that something is plural. We make one word and that S has a complete new meaning of the word. And phonology is the study of the sound feature used in a language to communicate a meaning. So phonology studies the sound features in our language and how we are going to communicate those meanings. This is a phonemic chart. This chart can guide us to how to pronounce a word. And when you know these symbols and you look at the dictionary, you can have a better idea of how to pronounce a word. Now we are going to talk about the sounds. Voiced is spoken using the vibration of our voice. For example, the B, the D, the Z, the G. And voiceless is spoken without using our voice, like a P, T, and K. So we don't use this part of our body. English phonology is we can divide into the parts: segmental, which describe the phonemes of a language in the way they combine, and suprasegmental describe the units larger than the phonemes. For example, the symbols, the syllables, the rhythms, groups, and intonation phrases. So the suprasegmental study more like how we say phrases and these syllables. Morphology deals with syntax of complex words and part of words, also called morphemes, as well as with the semantics of their lexical meaning. This is considered a subdiscipline of the linguistic. For example, we have the morphemes, and then we have the root word, and we use the minimal use of a word. So this is the root word, the main word, like a nation would be the root word, international or nationalization would be adding to these words. But morphemes are the minimal unit. In morphology, also words are the smallest independent units of language, and these words has a procession, a word formation process, which is the internal structure of words. The derivation of morphology is affixes, with which we divide into prefixes and suffixes, and we attach at the beginning. For example, I put independent. We put in at the beginning of the word, of a root word. Well, the root word would be dependent. And hopeless, which is a suffix, we put at the end of the word. So prefix is at the beginning, suffix is added at the end or attached to the end. The word formation process is compounding. For example, forming new words not from one suffix but from two or more independent words. For example, we have boy, which is an independent word, and also friend, which is another independent word. We put together and we make a new word, which is a compounding. We compound two independent words and we make boyfriend, like a new word. We have the manners of articulation. So here we have a graphic or an image of how we produce those sounds when we put our tongue out of our mouth or our teeth, and when we say some, when we produce some sounds and vibrate this part. Syntax is the way words and clauses are arranged to form sentences. Their arrangements contribute and enhance meaning and effect word phrases, sentences, or paragraphs. This is very useful for authors, which they organize their ideas. This is very helpful for them and also for us in order to make a nice sentence or a meaningful or a logical or coherent sentence. Sentence classification. We have the declarative, the imperative, the interrogative, and the exclamatory. It's very clear. Declarative make a statement, like for example, the man is in the house. Imperative gives you a command, gives you an order. Give the keys to the man in the house is a command. Interrogative, ask a question. Where is the man with the keys? And exclamatory makes an exclamation. The man is not in the house. So those are the sentence classification. And then we have three basic structures. We have simple sentence, one independent clause. For example, Greg ate a banana is a declarative sentence. Compound sentence, two or more independent clause. For example, we have and, but, for, or, nor, yet, so, or a semicolon. And for example, I like to play basketball, but I don't like soccer. So we have two independent clauses joined for a compound. Complex sentence is one independent clause and one or more dependent or subordinate clauses. If is our keyword. If I were rich, I would buy a new car for all my classmates. So we have this, I would buy a new car for all my classmates, would be the subordinate clause. And we have these beautiful words that just as beer has wings, man has language. This was said by George Henry Lewes. And this means that we have our language to communicate this. We have this tool to express anything. No, through the symbols, through our words, and we have this beautiful tool, which is the language. And that's it for me, and thank you very much. See you next time.